Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Crazy. My name is Mauricia. Oh my goodness, and this is my channel primarily about cross stitch, with a little sprinkling in of knitting, crocheting, sewing, quilting, and any other crafting endeavor that I want to dabble in. This is Flosstube number 2. I titled it a 4-month break. I never intended for it to go on a break, but life happens between work and a family emergency. In the last 4 months, I couldn't see myself putting one out, and honestly, I hadn't been doing much, and I just felt like I didn't have a lot to share. I started this channel primarily because I do not have people to just talk nonstop about cross stitch without boring. Yes, my family and friends are great at listening, but sometimes I get a little obsessive and that's all I want to talk about. So this is why I started this channel. So during this episode, because it's been 4 months, I'm going to talk about March Madness and my unrealistic expectations. Let's just say it was a bust. And as I go through my starts and my whips, I will tell you which one won overall because it had the most stitches. Next year, if I do that, do March Madness again, I know what I'm going to do, and I'm not going to force myself to do like I did this year. It wasn't a force. It was, I got overwhelmed, and I cut out quite a bit, and then identified the parameters. Took me a second for that word. Around March Madness. So there's that. I will not be divulging into the family emergency. Everybody is healthy now and on the mend, and I just thought I would explain why I have been gone so long. And just let you know that I'm still here, even though my activity on Instagram was near zero. I'm going to try to get better at posting. It's never on my forefront to do that, and I always forget about that. But you can find me on Instagram as Bomo Knits. That is a private account where I also share a little bit of my personal stuff. But the one primarily for this channel is going to be a Crafter's Crazy Obsessions, and you can see that in the description down below. It's not linked. You can just find them by just searching for them in Instagram. Sorry, I just haven't had the time to link it. It wouldn't be that hard, but today, it's probably just going to go over my head to remember to link it. And if I write it down, 9 times out of 10 it's going to get lost. So, if you're new, welcome. If you're coming back, thank you for coming back, even though I took a 4-month break. There are so many wonderful floss tubes out there. If I'm not your cup of tea, there are plenty of others out there. So let's get started. So I would recommend getting a drink, a project, or whatever it is that suits your fancy, and let's get started. So for the March Madness craziness, I realized week 2 into March that I had set unrealistic expectations for myself. And I decided to change how the parameters around the thing, around March Madness, and cut out quite a few projects that I was just like, no. So I had a double team, if you remember, or if you don't. I had two teams. Was it two teams? Yeah, two teams that were competing against a little bit of a larger project, or larger projects. And when I realized that I was not going to have the time to start all those, like the idea was get one finished and then start the next, I did do that. I got overwhelmed, so I just ended up choosing one of each one to compete against another one. And I don't remember what those were. And I will tell you in the whips which one won overall. And I'll tell you which patterns were featured in March Madness. So let's start. I have a SAF, which is a start and finish. And that is Spooky Craft Corner by the Witchy Stitcher. I started this on March the 22nd of this year and finished it April the 8th. This is using 14 count Zigart in black. And I am using all the called for DMC, and I did do 3 strands instead of 2, and I really liked how that worked out. So there's that one. If I didn't say it before, all my show notes are in the description down below. I have linked everything that project-wise, everything, like the website where you can find the pattern, if it was available. I believe Spooky Craft Corner is a Patreon exclusive, so this one probably isn't going to be released, or it will be. I'm not 100% sure how Meg of the Witchy Stitcher does everything, but this was a Patreon exclusive, and everything. So this was one of the contenders for March Madness. It did not end up winning. Now let's move on to finishes. Well, is this a start? Yes, but it's a finish. So this was a new start. It was also a contender for March Madness. It lost. And this isn't completely how the pattern is supposed to go. I realized a little too late that I messed up, and I was already irritated with my fabric choice, so I finished it. This is All These Books by Forbidden Fiber Co. I am using the threads from Forbidden Fiber Co. It's a pattern by Forbidden Fiber Co. The only thing that's different is the fabric. This is not the called for. This is a tea-dyed fabric that I dyed myself, and as you can see, some of it got a little too toasty, but I messed up. So it's supposed to say, like, I messed up the placement here, and I knew I wasn't going to have enough room for the books and the tea here, so I am going to make this into a pillow. And yes, it makes no sense. Yes, I really do need all the ... And I was just like, you know what? This could go for anything. I could put this in front of all my books, or in front of one of my book series. because this would work with several of the series I read when it comes to the characters. So this was started on March the 6th. I finished this on June the 28th. And I'm using all the threads from Forbidden Fiber Co. And this is just a finish. And I will start it again when the time comes. The next one is Key to My Heart by the Tiny Modernist. This I started on February the 14th of this year, finished it on July the 8th of this year, and I used all the called for threads. I think this, did I say, is it 2 strands or 3? It's 2 strands, sorry, took me a second. 2 strands over the 14 count. This is just a white zigart, and I'm happy with it that it's done. This was also a contender for March Madness. Why do I say contender instead of, I don't know. Anyways, I can't think of the word. A participant of March Madness. No, it's a contender because it was competing. Competitor, whatever. A contender for March Madness. It did not win. It got knocked out in the 8th, like the final 8. Or the final 8. And I am using DMC, and I already said it's 14 count white zigart. Ada by Zigart, sorry. And it's finished. I'm happy about it. Let's see. Is there anything else I can tell you about this? Not really, but I'm happy to have this done. I did have a little mess up over here somewhere. I had to fix it. Or I didn't fix it. I just fudged it. But it was in this word. Like over here somewhere. I don't remember. But yeah, I love it. It is cute. It doesn't go with my theme, but it is also a great, it was a great free pattern, and I loved it. And that's it for finishes. So 3 finishes in 4 months, give or take. Pretty okay. Yeah, I think that was pretty good. So, starts. I have a pile of starts. So let's get into it. So the first one was started on March the 5th of this year, and it is Welcome to the Crypt by the Witchy Stitcher. There will be something over here or before this that shows what the pattern's supposed to look like. I believe this is a free pattern from the Witchy Stitcher. I am using all the called for DMCs on a 14 count black Ada by Zigart. What is that? Okay, whatever. And that's how far I got. This was also a contender for March Madness. Of course, as you can see, it did not win. Then we have Wednesday by Forbidden Fiber Co. This is a restart. So it was restarted on March the 8th of this year. And I'm sorry. I apologize for the wrinkling, but I am not going to iron until I'm finished with it. Because I wash my fabric before they get ready to be completely finished. Like finished. I don't know. I'm using 32 count Belfast linen in the colorway Charcoal by Forbidden Fiber Co. I am using all the called for threads, and this is 2 strands over 2. And that's where I'm at. I really enjoyed doing this. I really like doing big blocks of colors, and for this pattern I really had enjoyed it. I just haven't picked it up since. So I think I'm going to make this one of my priorities in the next couple of months after August. So there's that. Next we have, and this was a contender too, this was, I believe, runner-up on March Madness. Sorry. My goodness. So then we have the winner of March Madness, and it is Shenanigans by Forbidden Fiber Co. Let me find it. Yeah. Shenanigans by Forbidden Fiber Co. I'm using 28 count. I have these. Give me 2 seconds. I have Wonder Clips. Don't know why. Well, the off-brand Wonder Clips, but it's still. And I'm sorry if you can hear my fan. It is hot. And it is hot. It is just, it's too hot. For me not to. So, again, sorry about the creases, but this was the winner. It had near 1,000 stitches, and that's where I'm at. So this was a pattern by Forbidden Fiber Co. called Shenanigans. I said that. I'm using 28 count Lugana by Forbidden Fiber Co. called Babbling Brook, and I'm using all the called for Forbidden Fiber Co. threads. And there will be a photo of what it's supposed to look like when it's finished. And I'm doing 3 strands over 2 on this one. If you're wondering why I'm not showing the project bags, these don't have special project bags. I found some off of Amazon, and that's what I used. Next was another contender for March Madness, and that is, did I say when I started Babbling Brook? I started that on March the 12th of this year. All the ones that are started have been this year. My goodness, Gracie, you do not have to say that. The next one was another contender for it. Of course, it didn't win. I don't even know where it placed, really, honestly. If I'm being honest. I'm going to have to use my bigger clips next time, because that's not going to work. It is the Ghost Family Crest by the Witchy Stitcher. I believe you can get this on her website, which is linked down below. I am using all the called for DMC, and this is on 30 count primitive hair of a mystery grab bag that I got from Primitive Hair off their Etsy. So that's where I'm at. And of course, as always, there's going to be a photo over here or in front of this. Who knows? And that's where it's at. And I started this on March the 20th. I don't know if I said that. The next one was started March the 21st. And it is another contender for March Madness. It didn't win, of course. This is the Crafty Bat by the Witchy Stitcher. I am using 14 count Ada by Forbidden Fiber Co. in the colorway Charcoal. I'm doing 3 strands over 1 box on Ada, in the Ada. And that's all I can say on this one. So there it is. Sorry, I should probably hold it closer. Then I started, oh geez. I'm just going to use Mother Earth, and I'll put the name right there, and it's down below. And I started this on Earth Day. I believe Earth Day was the 22nd of April. And I am using 14 count Honeydew by Forbidden Fiber Co. And I'm using Dinky Dye Silks in Blue Groper. And it's 3 over 1 box. So 3 strands. And that's just a pitiful start, but I wanted to start something, and now I have. Then on May the 5th, I think I only have like a couple days in this. Maybe 3 days. I don't remember how many days. I started Agnes Cairns 1815, a reproduction sampler by Hemlock and Rye. Oh, I forgot to say, I believe, I'm probably going to mispronounce it, but it's linked down below. It's Quarteron Creations. On Etsy is where Mother Earth came from. Okay, so I started, getting back to this next project on May the 5th. I started Agnes Cairns 1815, a reproduction sampler by Hemlock and Rye. Doing my own color conversion. If you're interested in it, just shoot me a message or email me, and I will get back to you. Or it's posted on my Instagram. So I'm using Fox and Rabbits, Cactus Wren, 40 count. This is my first 40 count project, and this is where I'm at. And I'm loving it. So I am using Pirate and Robin threads. I can list off the names. I am using Jungle, Raisin, Aubergine. Oh geez, I could have listed them all off, but now I've forgotten. And I unfortunately did not write those down in my book, and I need to. Go figure. But those are the... I changed the color of the house, which I know is a subject of its own, but I am not a pink person. I prefer purples to pinks. So... and it's my own. It's not going to anybody else but me. Then we have Silver Siren. And this is what it's going to look like. By... I'm looking at my show notes as I do this, so I can tell you. By Celtic Rose X Stitch on Etsy. And this is where I'm at. This is my first official full coverage that isn't printed on. So this is where it's at. This is 16 count easy count grid by Zigart. And I'm loving it. Oh, as it falls. Better hold of it, Mauricia. And that's where it's at. Doesn't look like much. It just looks like a blob of colors. But I can tell you this is a tree in the background. And we're going to get closer, like the further we get on into the second page, you're going to see more of the trees because it's in like a swampy wooded area. So then finally, the last start is No Kings by the Witch's Garden Crafts on Etsy. You can find this pattern for free on her Patreon. And she has like, it's a free, most of her patterns are free on Patreon. And this is where it's at. And there's a photo. Here we are. And I am not using any of the called for threads. I am using Forbidden Fiber Co. in Oceanside, Poinsettia, and Midas Touch, and then a DMC Blanc for the white, which I think is what she called for anyways. And I'm using 14 count, so this is going to be 3 strands. 14 count from Vera Stitching Quarter, called Argentina, but it's a one of a kind, so you can't get it. And that is it for starts. I don't have stats on how many stitches I've done on these. Check back next Flosstube. Check back on Flosstube 3, number 3, to see stats on that. Whips is next up. So I have them in order from oldest, no, in order in which I worked on them. So yeah, so the first one is, I'm going to say this is a counterfeit because it didn't have dimensions and stuff, but this is Nightmare Before Christmas. I do not have a before photo. I did work in here, right over here, and got quite a bit done there and here, but I don't remember how much I got done. But this is where it's at. So I have no, like this was a kit, so I have no information on this whatsoever. I know this is an 11 count using 3 strands of DMC, and I have the DMC right here, list right here. So there's that one. This was before I realized counterfeit was a huge thing, and Amazon doesn't really do much to stop it. So I got it, not realizing that it was one. Next is I'm Late by Bothy Threads. This was a kit that I got. If I have a photo of where it was when you last saw it to now, I will show you. It'll be right here next to it. So this is where I'm at. And let me just say, I learned my lesson. I should have gone down at least 2 rows on this printed fabric, so that, because I don't know if this is going to wash out. I'm hoping it does. If it doesn't, that's okay, because of the way I'm going to frame it. But, and I also have a photo of what it looks like when it's finished too. I forgot about that. The next one is All You Need Is Love by Tiny Modernist. I'm not going to even bother. This is where I'm at. And then the photo of where it was will be there if I have it. And I don't know how many stitches I put in it since the last time you've seen it, but I'm pretty sure it was the lower part of the word owl, and then the beginnings of the U, and bottom part of need, and the N. Okay, I forgot to mention when I started these projects. For Nightmare Before Christmas, I started this on February the 5th of 2014. Sorry, 2024. All You Need, I'm Late, was started on January the 23rd of 2025. All You Need Is Love was started, All You Need Is Love was started on February the 14th of this year. Okay. Then on the next one is Moncher Cara Mia. I believe this is a Patreon exclusive from the Witchy Stitcher. I started this on February the 13th of 25. I'm using 14 count olive by Zigart, and it's Ada, of course, using all the called for DMC on All You Need Is Love. I'm using just a white 14 count Ada by Zigart. And this is where I'm at on Moncher Cara Mia. If I have a photo of where it was before, it will be here, be shown next to it. There is that. Then we have was supposed to be my full moon piece every month on the full moon. I work on this, but life happened and I just couldn't bring myself to continue on. Not because I don't love the pattern. I love this pattern. I'm just I'm tired of making borders, but for me it makes sense to do all my borders. So this is Antique Celtic Sampler by Elizabeth's Needlework Designs. This was started on February the 12th, 2025. I am using a 32 count natural brown linen by Witchelt. I am using all the called for Weeks Dye Works, and this is where I'm at. Excuse the hanging thread. I didn't realize I hadn't finished that. Oh my goodness. So this is where I'm at. And if I have a photo of where it was, oh my goodness, I'm sorry. I didn't realize how much that fan was blowing. I will have a photo next to it. But it's there. I'm almost done with the borders. I just have to finish them. Okay, then we have Edgar Allan Poe by Primitive Hair, and this is what it's going to look like. I'm using a 14 count Ada that I tea-dyed myself. I'm using all the called for DMC. I started this March the 27th of 2024, and this is where I got, and I'll have a photo of where it is, where it was if I have it. So there it is. All of these except for Antique Celtic Sampler were all contenders in the March Madness, including this one. And then finally, my last whip is, I'm labeling it Love Your Darkness by Meg C on Etsy, but it's a wedding sampler cross stitch. So this, I have a photo of where it was, this is where it's at, and then I'll have the photo of what it will look like when it's finished. So it says, light is easy to love, show me your darkness. Those are all my whips. Oh, so crazy, isn't it? Let me think, what else did I need to say? Okay, so my plans for this month, because it is August the 2nd, and I forgot to say that in the intro, is I am going to be doing a birthday bash. Stay tuned. There will be a separate video for my birthday bash 2025, and there will also be a late mid-year whip parade, just so I can go through all my whips and maybe then give you all the stats on them, and then be good for the next year. We'll see. Or before for December. Sorry, I'm thirsty. Let's see. So I am turning 30 this year. If anybody's interested and you guys want to start, and you would want to start one of these projects with me, my birthday's on the 23rd. Start one of them on the 23rd. Or whenever. I don't care. I'm starting everything whenever I want to. So, stay tuned for that video. Stay tuned for the whip parade. And I don't have a sign-off, do I? No, I don't. I don't think so. And until next time, hopefully in September, I hope you have a good time. Spend it with the ones you love and doing the things you love. Bye.